live with Tao. Insights into birth anniversary of Sheikh Brij Mohan Lal, a Naqshbandi Sheikh. We all know, we all celebrate the birth anniversary of incarnations, masters, in a usual ritualistic way. But do we know how these souls assume birth? Is it a normal way? These are the insights into the process. You would have heard, take the example from the birth of Ram. It is said in the beginning of Ramcharitmanas, the atrocities of the demons was increasing, the humanity was suffering, and a request was made, and then Vishnu decided to assume the birth. He made a forecast that he will assume the birth to relieve the humanity of these atrocities. So the arrangement is made. Now preparation has to begin. It is something like this. You are a very important person, a prime minister. You have to go to inaugurate a particular project or lay the foundation or something. So it is announced that on this particular day the Prime Minister will lay the foundation or the work. A decision is made. Now all the preparations will be made. And on a particular day, he will assume, he will reach there. You have decided to visit a city for holidays or anything. One thing is this, you reach that city and then you make your arrangements for your stay and everything. The other is that you make all the arrangements in advance, where you will stay, who will take care of your things, and all the arrangements are made in advance. Who can make the arrangements for the visit in advance? One who has resources, one who has contact in that city, he can make easily the arrangements. And then all the preparations are made. So step by step I will explain that. First I explain that the Prime Minister decided to lay the foundation of a particular project in a city. This announcement is made. Now the arrangement is made for his visit, all the other security, all the other arrangements. You have decided to visit a tourist place, so your tickets are booked, journey is planned, where you will stay, who will take care of your everything. That is done there. So now leave this aside. You want to plant a seed, and there is a normal seed and there is a hybrid seed. Hybrid seed, the yield will be much more. It will be beneficial many ways. So you have to procure the hybrid seed. Hybrid seed has to be planted in a soil which is specifically designed, specifically fertilized. Right? This we know all. How does this happen? So what is the hybrid seed? Hybrid seed, in case of the human being, refers to one whose consciousness has transcended beyond the physical realm. The consciousness operates at the three different levels: at the level of the body, at the level of emotions, at the level of energy. So normally our consciousness remains operating at the level of the body, and emotions come to play, but emotions, we are all emotionally disturbed persons. We cannot transcend beyond the mud or the quagmire of emotions in any way. This is the second obstruction. And when you transcend and you reach the level of layer of energy. So hybrid seed means one who has a physical body, but something else has been added to it, that its quality, the yield will be much more. You are operating at the level of the body. Your resources are limited, capabilities are limited. It is the emotions that give tremendous energy to the project to you. So you have to be freed from the normal emotions that create the situation of chaos, disturbance, and that is what we all live. When a circumstance and situation comes, we are disturbed. So you have to transcend beyond that. Then you reach at the level of energy. This is how the seed is created, the hybrid seed. So first the soul, which is the seed, that has to assume a birth, has to be of that quality. And how does this come? It comes through one's own efforts, through meditative insights. Like during the time when we are love-making, our consciousness remains basically at the level of the body. We never go beyond the level of the body. If two lovers really become one during love-making, reach to the deepest core, they disappear from the life of duality, and inner conflict means reach higher level. Normally during the love-making, interaction happens at the physical plane. This is normal and primary. When our act of love-making never remains a meditative act. When it is not a meditative act, you have not transcended beyond the body, beyond the emotions to reach the energy level. When constantly this begins to happen, you are in the body, but the body is not into you. You have reached to the level of understanding. You are in the world, but the world of duality and conflict is not into you. When such a person who has attained to this state, this is a state of awakening, a state of Buddhahood. If consciousness transcends physical level during the act, they are liberated really. They will not have the rebirth again. If lovemaking has taken them deeper, a kind of fulfillment comes that cannot be explained in any way. After such experience, there will be no life of duality and conflict in future. If two lovers become so totally one in and or through their lovemaking, love has reached the state level of deepest meditation possible for them. Now, when this soul, while performing or living in the world, leaves this world, he does not need to come back to the life. He has a choice. If he decides to assume another birth, he can take the birth. So all these awakened one, as happened, as I mentioned in case of Ram, Vishnu was to take birth as a human, to resurrect the humanity and remove the chaos and the situation. Consciously he assumed, consciously he made a decision to assume the human form, because all the work, in order for the work, you have to come to the physical level. You have to come to the lab. In order to explain what I am explaining, I have to come to this live streaming to explain that. That decision is mine. And then all the arrangements are made, how the message has to reach to you, and it affects. So then the seed is ready. So in that form, that evolved consciousness have decided to assume the birth again for some work that needs to be done. Now the preparation is to be done. The seed is hybrid. So this is the seed, right? So, but this seed, how this seed can be planted, or the fertilization or the conception can take place. Now you are not there. You are at the plane which is not visible. You are in that realm, in the seed form. So it has to be started. So then the role comes up of the parents. At the time, there are thousands and thousands of people are making love 24 hours. What kind of soil that is needed for a hybrid seed? So it is the seed will decide that this is the kind of a soil that is needed. The higher souls cannot be brought into an ordinary womb, just as a hybrid seed cannot be planted into an ordinary soil which is barren or less fertile. It has to be highly fertile. So preparation of the womb is necessary. And the seed. This is why the concept of Jesus being born of Holy Ghost is there. So Holy Ghost represents the consciousness. Joseph represents the physical aspect of that. If you look at it, the seed has an invisible energy and the physical energy. Joseph provided the physical energy, and Holy Ghost provided the energy which was subtle, higher energy, or the consciousness. And then the womb has to be prepared. So in that case, when Tibetan Buddhist master says, Master Padmasambhav says, my father Samantabhadra is intrinsic consciousness. The seed has two forms, the physical, because it is at the level of the physical, the parents are interacting into the act of love making. At that time, are they involved in the physical? Because the act is taking place at the physical level, but are the parents meditative at the moment of love making or not? Ordinarily, it is not possible. So in case of Jesus, there is a concept of Holy Ghost. In case of the masters, I will explain in today and tomorrow's session. So Padmasambhav says, my father is intrinsic consciousness and my mother is a sphere of reality. Although the physical parents are Samantubhadra, the father, and Samantubhadri, the mother. So it is the father and mother, the physical father and physical mother. I can explain to you on the basis of my own example. My father and mother, physical father and my mother, everybody knows. But who is my spiritual father, intrinsic energy, and the real sphere of reality is my grandfather and grandmother. This I know, but the humanity does not know. That's why when it can be the same, in case of Padmasambhav, his father was able to reach to that level of intrinsic consciousness at the moment of love making, and his mother. So at the moment of love making, their energy was flowing at the level of physical being, because the interaction must happen at that level, but their consciousness is beyond the emotions at the level of energy. That is why he says, my father is intrinsic consciousness and my mother is a sphere of reality. How many times it happened? In case of Buddha, when it is the mother who gets the feeling that before that a special soul has entered my womb. This happened in case of Ramakrishna Paramahansa. It happened in case of Buddha. When Buddha was conceived, his mother, Queen Mayadevi, realized, saw a six-headed white elephant flew over her and dissolved into the body. This is symbolic of that higher consciousness. Although the physical energy was that of King Buddha's father, but really he is not father. He is not the son of that. He is son of that intrinsic awareness. Padmasambhav said that. This is why, although physically Jesus is the son of Joseph, but deep down he is the son of Holy Ghost. That's why he is called the son of the Father, Holy Father. So it was Holy Ghost who made the arrangement, who created the situation for the body to remain that of Joseph, but the consciousness that of Holy Ghost. In case of Padmasambhav, the father's consciousness was the same. So then the womb is to be prepared. So a soil is to be prepared before with higher qualities of fertilization. That is where, in case of a human being, it is now the kind of a religiousness, kind of a deep understanding the mother has that prepares the womb. That is why Jesus could not be born out of ordinary womb, and Christians say Mary was virgin. Virgin means that has not been contaminated by any kind of contaminations. So Mary is as innocent, as pure as anything else. There is no lust. When I look deep into the state of Mary's womb at that moment, it makes it clear that there was no lust. There is nothing of that nature, the arousal or anything has happened. When you enter into a state of love making, there is arousal, and out of that you enter into the act. Mary's situation was totally, she was meditative, and in order to explain that meditativeness of Mary, the word virgin is used. So all those parents the mothers. This is how the virginity of the womb fertilizes the soil for that seed of intrinsic awareness to prosper. Although the seed has two forms, when spermatozoa enters the fallopian tube, it is the physical aspect of the spermatozoa, which is chemicals and everything, and there is a spiritual aspect which is known as ojas, the energy. The food that you eat, there is a physical aspect and there is a spiritual aspect, the energy aspect of that. When everything works in harmony with one another, then you reach the level of energy. So in case of Brij Mohan Lal, the womb, his parents were spiritual masters, but an example was to be created. He did not have any children, so his parents his in-laws were taking them to a holy pilgrimage of Hindus, and it was the belief that if they go and pray there, the couple will be blessed with a child. Same time, Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan, the Sufi master of Lalaji, appeared at his place. And seeing all these arrangements, he asked, "What is this going on?" So when he was told that my younger brother does not have any children and his in-laws are taking them to a holy place in South India so that a child can be born, he got in a different state of awareness. He said, the God that is there is here also. And he asked for some water. So water is the one that, if energy has to be transformed, in case of that, so water is the one that absorbs the energy. That is why anything that is put in the water is absorbed and the quality changes. And he cast a glance over it, says the prayer transferred his energy field into that water and asked that water to be given to the mother, the would-be mother. And with that the conception happened. So conception cannot happen with that. It is the energy that was creating the problem that was coming for the conception for some reasons. Sometimes it happens that the parents are trying and the conception is not happening. Either there is the problem with the quality of a spermatozoa or the preparation of the womb. So two things have to be there. The quality of the seed. So sometimes it is said medically the number of sperms, the sperm cells are weakened, and if the sperm cells are weakened, then the conception cannot happen. So by doing that, he increased the number of the sperm cells and their quality. The same thing happened in case of Jesus' birth. The sperm quality of Joseph was transformed with the concept of Holy Ghost. So it is the consciousness which is energy, the intrinsic energy, which Padmasambhav says, my father is intrinsic energy, my intrinsic consciousness which is energy. So that aspect of the sperms, number of sperms increases, their quality improves, and they are of a hybrid quality. This is what I meant when I said the hybrid seed. So it is the hybrid seed by changing the quality, the energy level of the sperm cells. And so first, the quality of the sperm cells is changed. It has become of a hybrid quality of, it is now intrinsic awareness. And then womb is prepared in a different way by fertilizing the soil or by being virgin. In case of Mary, this is expressed through virginity of Mary. Mary is considered as a virgin. We know a concept of virginity in a different manner, but this is the concept of virginity. If you have experienced that, if any one of you have experienced that, you will realize at that moment when the physical interaction is happening, although the interaction is happening at the physical level, but your consciousness is not there in that. Your thought process is not there, as if you have your mind. Your mind is the easiest way. It is through the mind we think that this is happening, this is happening. So mind has become completely, put it as here, and then kind of a spiritual anesthesia is given. You cannot, when operation is to be performed and anesthesia is given, you do not feel the pain, you do not see what it is happening. So at that moment, some of you, sometimes the parents, the mother specifically, feels that I am in a state of a spiritual anesthesia, although the interaction is happening between between me and my spouse as the parent, at the physical level, but your consciousness is not in that, as if you are in a state of spiritual anesthesia. Somebody else, energy of Joseph is interacting through the physical body of the energy of Holy Ghost is interacting through the body of Joseph. This is how the seed is planted. This is how, in case, so each circumstance and situation, the situation, how everything takes place differs. In case of Jesus, it happened that way. In case of Ram, the parents were not having, all of them, the situation was parents were not having children. So in order to happen to for the birth of a child, a sacrifice, a prayer or ritual is done that is known by specific names. So King, the father of Ram, the Vishnu's incarnation, did a prayer, a ceremony, a ritual that is known as the ritual to have the birth of a child. And after that, it was blessed that you will be blessed with a son, and then Ram assumed the form. Although the arrangement was made by Vishnu on his own, and this happened that way. In case of Brij Mohan Lal, the quality of the seed was changed by Sheikh Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan by transferring his energy field into the water that was given to the mother. And this is how it happened when we look into the incidents that happened along with the birth of Ram, because the whole act is to be performed. So when Ram was born, the other things, the Hanuman and Vibhishan was born out of that same consciousness, but the parents were different. I will go into another time with the birth of Ram, But at the moment, as we are celebrating the birth anniversary of Sheikh Brij Mohan, at times some of the seekers have mentioned their problems, that they are not getting pregnant or birth. A similar process is used for conception to happen. Sometimes the mother becomes aware of it, other times it is not. So now the womb is prepared, hybrid seed is there, the process of conception happens. This is how the birth of Lalaji happened. A forecast was made by 33rd Sheikh of the Naqshbandi order, Hazrat Abul Hasan Nasirabadi, that a consciousness will be born who will be the true inheritor of this spiritual wealth, but it has to be prepared. So then the concept of blanket wrapped mystic comes in, who was never seen in the city, and he came and he blessed the mother and disappeared, never to be seen afterwards. And the mother was a pious, she was virgin in that sense, in the way of Mary, she was, her consciousness was virgin. So in a situation like this, at the moment of when conception is taking place, the mother's consciousness is always virgin. She is not thinking of anything. It is a state like a spiritual intoxication, a spiritual anesthesia is given. When anesthesia is given, the whole act is performed, the operation is performed, but the patient does not know or feel pain and anything. All this is felt after the effect of the anesthesia wears out. So during the moment when the act of love-making is taking place, in case of Jesus, in case of Brij Mohan Lal, in case of the others, I will not mention the names, but they are aware. They were in a state of spiritual anesthesia, and the anesthesia continued until the entire act was finished. After that, they felt in their own way. Someone felt this way, but each case, the mother felt a special soul has entered in the womb. Maya Devi felt that. Ram Krishna's mother felt that. Brij Mohan Lal's mother felt that. Lalaji's mother felt that. And few others felt that a special soul has entered the womb. Now, soul has entered. Now, the fertilization and everything takes place. But this flower, this seed, has to be taken care of. How the upbringing is there, that is also an important part. Number one, the hybrid seed, preparation of the womb. It is the soul that has to assume the birth, makes the decision. Then hybrid seed is created by the one. It is like that you have decided to visit that. So somebody who is staying, you make a call to a person that I am coming and make all the arrangements for my visit. So then that person makes the arrangements. In that case, Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan was that person who made all the arrangement for the birth of Brij Mohan Lal. It is the blanket wrapped mystic who assumed all the arrangements for the birth of Lalaji to take place. Then comes the upbringing. How this seedling that has now growing in the mother's womb, so the role of the mother is important, and the surroundings. So in case of Brij Mohan Lal, when he was born, one day playing with the child, Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan addressed Lalaji. He said, "Bhai Puttulal, the entire responsibility of the physical and spiritual education of this child is on you." So it is Lalaji it is the gardener, he was the gardener who nourished and nurtured and prepared Brij Mohan Lal into what he was. That is why I mentioned at times to some people that the child that is born out of you is a unique one. You have to take care of that person in a unique way, because some work has to happen through that child. This is how, these are the insights that will continue. I can go on and on. That's why it was said, when Padmasambhav says, there is no one else in the entire history of the human consciousness has said that my father is intrinsic consciousness and my mother is the ultimate sphere of reality. He said that, although his physical parents was the Samantabhadra father and Samantabhadri the mother. I had explained to you the physical parents. That's why Sheikh Raghuvar Dayal never considered, he paid total respect to Brij Mohan Lal as compared to other two his sons, Radha Mohan Lal and Jyotindra Mohan. But the respect that he had for Brij Mohan Lal far exceeds, because he know what Brij Mohan Lal represents, what his consciousness represents. He had a great respect for his son. Lalaji had a great respect for Brij Mohan Lal. It is not an ordinary thing, but all these things cannot be understood if you are guided by the normal ritualistic way of celebration of the birth anniversary of Brij Mohan Lal, by doing this and that and all these things. It is a deep insights into human consciousness and deep understanding. Enough for now. I'll continue this in a little more in some other aspects of it.